In this next article from Hacker News, job seekers face exploitation as online recruitment is riddled with fake news. Coming at you through the New Statesman at newstatesman.com. It says, in such a dire job market, the fantasy of employment is highly lucrative, with fake vaccines and hiring stories going viral. Sorry, I can't talk today. When a blood-splattering job applicant tumbled into Michael Kovich's office, covered in dirt, grass, and jet fuel, he knew he had to hire him. The candidate, who was 7 months late to his interview, had been kidnapped for ransom after getting into an unlicensed taxi in Brazil. Months at the hand of his captors, eventually earning their trust. When they let their guard down, he escaped. He stole vehicle, drove off his captors in hot pursuit, made it to the local airport, slammed through the fences, and hot-wired a jet. He fueled it himself, skipped the safety checks, and took off. Destination job interview. That man deserves a job if that man actually exists. 100%, definitely. Kovich offered him a job on the spot. On LinkedIn, the world's largest online professional network, a trend is intensifying, that of influencers sharing fake stories about hiring people. Kovich invented his blood-covered interview candidate to parody an endless stream of posts featuring rain-soaked, teary-eyed people crawling out of the wreckage of cars and running across motorways to make it to interviews. The cast of unfortunate characters, from pregnant women to dying spouses to pregnant women with dying spouses to suicidal fathers with starving newborns, differs from post to post, but the format is always the same. A recruiter sees a candidate in a difficult situation, gets them a coffee, hires them on the spot. No interview required. Comment after comment follows. So aspiring. Wow, you're such an amazing hiring manager. Thank you for being kind to humanity. In a dire job market, the fantasy of employment is highly lucrative. More than 3 million UK households are in serious financial difficulty owing to COVID-19. For job seekers caught in the endless grind of applications and rejections, stories about recruiters taking pity on sobbing candidates who can't pay their rent are deeply attractive. The influencers who share these often plagiarized stories compete with hashtags grading with robotic empathy, hashtag compassion, hashtag be human, are scamming job seekers for their attention. For wannabe influencers, branding yourself as altruistic employer might be the fastest way to grow a platform in a pandemic. Oh, man. Oof. This is why I do open source, right? You can't talk shit about my company. Nobody can criticize my work that I do. I make open source technologies to help disabled people and people with memory problems that can help you learn. And I make music and lighting technologies, and I make open source spaceship, the Freedom Government, attempting to bring you an open source AI attorney. That's a newer project. Don't call me out on that one yet. But we are going to model the governments of the world in a computer through a generative adversarial network, make them argue the computer. And to be quite honest, I'm doing it to make a video game. It's going to be called the Bad Adult Simulator, where it's going to be like a job simulator with job simulator mixed with GTA 5. And so, but a lot of these people that you're going to find on YouTube that are like pushing you inspirational stuff, they're really toxic. They're not good people. That's why they're on YouTube, dude. I'm on YouTube personally because I got canceled. Nobody else will speak for me. And the cultural Marxists are trying to destroy our culture. And they're trying to take out the white man because the African Americans and the Wham Man and the Kleenex can't compete. and they canceled me. And so I do mostly open source, and you can't cancel me. Like my business model is I give my stuff away for free, and then at some point in time you subscribe. So you're safe to watch this program. I don't have any real alternative motives here other than to have fun, which I think that most people would say that they fully support that, even though sometimes I might be raw as fuck and straight up rude. As a whole, I support de-radicalization. I don't support racism. I support treating the next generation of people, give the elimination, the inclusive elimination of permanent underclasses. I don't think that gangs in the city are doing anybody good. I think you should move out of these big Democrat-controlled cities. But all these other people up on, not all these other people, a lot of people that are trying to make money on the internet, they definitely don't have very good motivations. They seems to be like, with this entire equality movement, there's a lot of people who are incredibly toxic, who just want attention. They're like attention whores. And they will tell you anything that you want to hear to get you to like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. So that's why we call them ivory tower liberals, is because they sit up top, they ivory tower, trying to get you to support policies that in the end are extremely harmful to your family. And it's because they don't live in your family, or they don't live in your community. They don't know anybody there. They don't pay taxes there. They don't own any businesses there. They don't have any business there. They don't vote there. But they want to control how you work. And it's because there's certain people that come up in this social hierarchy when they engage in what is called toxic positivity. If you don't know what toxic positivity is, I would highly recommend learning about it from Robert Greene. That he is the man. Robert Greene is amazing. Let's look up Robert Greene, toxic positivity. So a lot of these things you'll find are him trying to sell his book, and it's actually got a lot of good information on it. Robert Greene wrote the 48 Laws of Power, which there's actually 50 laws of power. Probably and counting. But he came out with the new one, The Laws of Human Nature, recently. I thought it was amazing. I listened to the audiobook, and I learned so much. This book makes you feel so guilty when you hear it. Because everybody engages in these toxic behavior patterns at some point in their life. So you read that book, and the way he describes these toxic people, it could be you. It could have been me in some of these situations. And it kind of exemplifies how the border between toxic personalities and non-toxic personalities, it becomes very, very subtle. Like people don't understand that they're engaging in toxic behaviors. What they think is, I'm just trying to be a good person. I don't want to have people being negative around me, and I don't want them arguing. But what they don't understand is that, let's see if they have anything about toxic positivity here. They don't. What they don't understand is they're engaging in elements of human nature that is partially motivated by our instincts to reproduce and to raise children. Women, some families do not want you to argue around the kid, and they will hate on you if you argue around the kid. They'll think you're toxic. So these people will get into the workplace, and they seem nice on the surface. They worked really hard in college. You think they're really smart. They're really nice. But in reality, they're incredibly jealous of other people's success. They're really petty because they worked really hard. They think, I worked really hard in my life. How you can't do that. Like, I invented a CO2 sequestration machine that's probably the world's most efficient water heater. It's crazy, simple, stupid. It's an ice machine that with ice water condensate, well, pure H2O. It's like a swamp cooler that you put pure H2O in, and then it causes the CO2 to turn into carbonic acid, and then you can make it pop back out when you boil it. So the trick is to recuperate waste heat from the side of your house using the swamp cooler, and then use some metal boundaries to like transfer the heat back into the water. So basically, it takes all the heat from your hot water and it puts it back into the hot water, and it breathes CO2. So it's a legit machine. I can explain to you how to do CO2 sequestration in like some number of minutes. It's actually incredibly easy. But to the vast majority of scientists, they hate when I talk about this, dude. They get so fucking jealous, man. They think, oh, this guy, he's so cocky. He's one of those toxic people that like, he's always bragging about this stuff. And like, what they don't understand is that I'm an open source geek. And to me, this is like the thing that I'm passionate about and I'll talk about all the time. But they think you have to be humble. You can't ever not be humble. You can't ever have pride in yourself and confidence in yourself, because that's toxic. And what they don't understand is they themselves are actually engaging in what is called toxic positivity. It's where you feel like everything has to be positive. And if people aren't being positive, then you get very angry at them. If somebody's arguing, you start to get angry. And this part of it comes from people not wanting to argue around the children. Another part of it comes from people just being incredibly just petty and selfish and being jealous of grass that is greener on the other side, that they feel like they worked harder and they should have greener grass. But it definitely appears as though the toxic positivity is just rampant in the workplace right now. There's a lot of really toxic self-help gurus out there. What you have to understand about self-help gurus is that if they ever actually solve your problem, then they will no longer be able to get you to pay for the conferences and the books and the one-on-one sessions. So they intentionally will give you a lot of really bad information, and it's because they're trying to sell you something. It's kind of a repeating pattern over and over and over again, and they become just incredibly toxic, and it's because their life is based on a lie. When your life becomes based on a lie, all of your actions then become around concealing that lie and covering up the fact that you're lying. If you're doing that, more than likely, you are going to go into a radioactively toxic cesspool. I personally advocate for free speech, for laughing at criticism, and not being a spineless jerk whenever people do criticize you.